Hello, YouTube. We have an interview on Famitsu from the Final Fantasy XI devs, and I've seen a couple of snippets from it, and there's some interesting information in here, a little bit of extra detail about things we've been finding out about the upcoming content, and so we're just going to go through it here on Google Translate and see if we can't get something good out of it. So it says interview with the 20th anniversary of the operation of F11, and it hits all things that players care about, such as prime weapons being the new line of Rima. Shale, this is probably a mistranslation of Shale Jail, which is the Odyssey NMs, maybe, and Master Levels. Of course, Master Levels, always the talk. FF11 has celebrated its 20th anniversary and is being energetically upgraded. This time, they interviewed the producers, Fujito and Matsui. I dared to omit the recollections of the operation so far and asked about the current and future. Oh, okay. So they're saying they didn't ask about past stuff. They're asking about current Vana'diel and the future, focusing on the movements of the past year and the intention of implementing new elements. Not to mention major changes such as the introduction of the master level and addition of storage, hot topics such as the capture status of Shale Jail. So Shale, obviously Odyssey NMs. The drop rate of Shinryu is mentioned here, which, hot take on that one, they're about to have, and we'll read that in a minute. The performance of the Hunter's hover shot and so on. The content is aimed to be active at players, such as prime weapons, which are considered to be legendary weapons. So yeah, since the operation period of FF11 is very long, it is already customary to look back on the anniversary. It is already customary to look back on the anniversary, but the 20th anniversary is a big milestone. Is there any difference between your anniversary and the feelings? At the time of the 17th anniversary, this is from Matsui, I told you about the outlook for the 20th, so I'm deeply moved. Looking back, 20 years was quick, but I feel that this year has been a long time. It was a great experience to meet and talk with various people, and it was a year of running around trying to get more people to know about FF11. Yeah, because the 17th is around the time when they mentioned the outlook of the 20th. Yeah, okay, so it's been 3 years. I felt like it had been a 3-year period, but now they're pointing that out. How was Mr. Fujito over the past year? I feel like I haven't changed. As usual, I made an implementation plan and interacted with engineers. Just because the 20th anniversary is what we have to do does not change. The only difference is that the website We Are Vana'diel was prepared and deployed. That's why the amount of work is more than usual, but since Matsui was the most active on this site, I was focusing on team management and in-game implementation planning. Please tell us how the site We Are Vana'diel was born and its intention. Originally, it was planned to be a site for simply counting down the 20th anniversary. However, as we proceeded with the story, we tried to put the 20-year history of FF11 firmly, and to be able to see the huge number of illustrations and setting pictures that had been released so far, the plan came out. Then, instead of making this site transient, I wanted to make it a place where players of FF11 could come and enjoy it, even after celebrating its 20th anniversary. You said that you'd want it, this is the interviewer saying, you said that you wanted to make it a hub that connects FF11 and players. Yes, Matsui says. So when I asked Michael of the localization team for a name that would be accepted globally, and he gave me the idea of We Are Vana'diel, the direction of this site, I was confident about my choices. That's an awkward translation. Everyone's Vana'diel, we are Vana'diel. When you look at the site, you can see the thumbnails of Matsui. The interviewer laughs. Matsui says, I talked with various people in the planning of this site, but personally not only about Final Fantasy XI, but also about the atmosphere of the game industry at the time when it was born. I was vaguely thinking it would be nice if I could tell that I was the other person. As a result, I think that even those who are not familiar with FF11 could hear an interesting story. Some of the other parties were so-called competitors, and when I actually talked to them, there was a part that I sympathized with. Oh, my friends! Yeah, they did interviews with people of other gaming franchises that were relevant at the time or are currently still relevant. There's a lot of cool interviews on We Are Vana'diel website if you haven't gone and looked. Did you find anything new about the project FF11 through dialogues with various people? There are two. First of all, the density of the first year in the 20th history of anniversary of 20-year history. Okay, wait, let me try this sentence again. First of all, the density of the first year in the 20-year history of FF11 is really high, and I did a surprising amount of things. I wonder if I was doing so many things in the first year was there. However, thanks to the hard work of the first year, I've been fighting for 20 years, and I would like to praise the staff at the time. Although it will be a miso in the foreground. Translations with Google Translate are not always perfect, but they are mentioning soup in the middle of this sentence. The other is that the superiors of the company are saying, keep on FF11. Therefore, I had a reassuring feeling that FFXI would continue as long as there were players. Okay, now this is Fujito saying, looking at articles on the site, I can still feel the people who have been involved in the project have a strong attachment to FF11 and are proud to have been a member of the development. I did. Relationships that are not shown in the table include Mr. Tanaka, the first producer, Mr. Ishii, the first director of FF11, who were instrumental in launching the game. There are 100 or 200 people, but I can imagine that a considerable number of people are cherishing it as well. Don't let them get angry, I thought, and had to protect it. Okay, moving on. In that sense, it was actually a good opportunity to see FF11 objectively. Fujito says, I asked the developers of other companies about various things this time, but I wasn't a member of society when I started playing. It is because I had experience with 11 that I am the way I am now. There are many people who say there is, this is kind of hard to parse. After FF11 changed my life. However, I wonder if there are a few games that help to lay the foundation for those people's lives. Oh, he's saying he came in, he played the game first and then came in to be a designer, and that's affecting him and his thought process differently than the people who have been there since the beginning. I think that it was possible to become a foundation because I continued for a long time, and I think that I was able to get involved with many people. By the time this article was published in connection with the 20th anniversary, I heard that the title song was a new song. How did this happen? We got a lot of article left to go. Holy cow. When I thought about how to celebrate the 20th anniversary and how to make it exciting, I thought that the title screen had to change. Until now, the title song was renewed when the extended data disc was released. Only new expansions got new title music. But it is difficult to expand with the current system. However, I feel lonely to keep playing the same song all the time. The current title song is from Adeline, so that's 9 years since 2013. Fujito says, I think only that the title screen can express the meta expression 20th anniversary head-on in-game. Yeah, because Play On Mine's not going to express anything to the players. I made cute anniversary logos for the 18th and 19th, and this time I wanted to add a new song to the new logo. So when I placed an order with Mizuta, he said, I want to record this as a live sound. When I listened to the song that came up, it was more abundant than I had imagined. Is the song title a serial number of Vana'diel March? No, I wanted to give it a proper name, such as the title song Promethea's Curse being Unity, and the title song of Adeline being A New Direction. I didn't want to use the word 20th anniversary easily, so I asked the localization team to come up with some ideas for combining English words. So I was able to arrive at a song that was reasonably convincing, so I showed it to... Love this translation. So I showed it to the paddy fields. And then what happened? We Are Vana'diel answered immediately. I guess it was a good idea is what they're saying. It went ahead of schedule, lol. Well, I wonder why I couldn't think of it. Bitter smile. I love bitter smile has been included alongside of Fujito's words a few times in this interview already. We Are Vana'diel was the name of a website, and at the same time it was a big keyword for the 20th, so it may have been too familiar. to Mr. Fujito. Fujito says, it's dark under the lighthouse, isn't it? After receiving a suggestion from the paddy field, I thought, I have no choice but to do this anymore. Matsui says, Patty is an idea, man. Who is Patty? Patty also proposed a plan to have adventurers sing the chorus of the end song of Vana'diel's Star Song. I'm always thinking about how to promote songs, not just write them. How was Mr. Mizuta's reaction when you ordered the song? Fujito says, actually, the order for this song was not just one song, but the part of the song order related to... so it's part of... When they say Eclipse Embryo, they're talking about Gracious Resurgence. So they had hired Mizuta to make music for TVR, which is why it's got an all-new OST. And in addition to that, they asked for a new title song for the 20th anniversary. Among them, the title song is a special song of the 20th anniversary, but what I told you from here is that a song that excites with a good feeling. I think that the song was created in this way expresses Patty's idea that the 20th anniversary of FF11 should be like this. They made a difficult attempt to record live sound during the, that word. The schedule adjustment was very difficult, but I think it was worth the effort. Yep, scheduling has been an issue for the past few years. Go figure. Okay, now here we go. Here's the context about the game in its current state. I would like to move on to the content of the game. The contents implemented in the past year. The one that had the greatest impact was the introduction of master levels, which is a further growth factor from the job master. Please tell us your intention. Matsui says, one of the factors that made the character stronger was that he wanted a new growth factor for the character himself, not the item level of the equipment. In addition, we have made various job adjustments so far, but from now on, we've decided to improve the character's abilities vertically and then make adjustments. Oh, it's right here. And then make adjustments for each job again. This is what I said. And then we started reading the post that somebody posted and was like, well, maybe job mastery is just the way they're adjusting jobs. In addition, we have made various job adjustments. Yeah, right, Misa? You were there, Misa. In addition, we have made various level job adjustments so far, but from now on, we've decided to improve the character's abilities vertically and then make adjustments for each job again. I was going to ask this question on the Reddit AMA. Now it's right here, chat. I'm still waiting for Thief to get a job adjustment. It needs like 3 things. The first time in 10 years that number has risen as a level. Yeah, the first time in 10 years that we've gotten a what's the word I'm looking for here? Sub-job levels. Whoa, my gosh, my brain. I decided to raise the level of the master in the old days, but I was initially worried about that point. I think the player will say, I'm sorry for raising the level, or, you know, I feel bad about it. In the first place, the prerequisite for raising the master level is job master, but when I actually implemented it, these things were almost overwhelming. Yeah, I mean, like, if you would have told me 3 years ago, okay, we're planning things for the 20th anniversary, and, you know, we got big changes coming to the game. We're going to increase the sub-job levels. I think half the player base, I think 90% of the player base would have erupted because we had come off of Adeline so long ago, and the implementation of iLevel 119 that caused a bunch of players to quit because of their invalidation of their gear and their progression in the game. Master levels have been absolutely handled in such a way that they are been an addition to the game that has been helpful. It has been enjoyable if you like EXP parties, that kind of stuff. And it's added just a touch of new JAs and spells and things to the various jobs that has been a nice touch. And I just really, and hasn't invalidated anyone's time spent playing. Just a great addition to the game. And Mitsui talks about being worried kind of right here. The hunting grounds are so crowded that you can compete with your enemies. Yeah, Fujita says, however, it is not exactly the same as the old level up. Up until now, there were elements that could intuitively imagine the enhancement of the character, such as you can equip new weapons and armor as you go up in level, or you will be able to use new job abilities. However, if I try to do the same thing as a master level, to be honest, I think the ability of the serpentine performance will only increase. I actually really wonder what this is saying. While I agree with Fujito here, is like you have it to look forward to. Realistically, the sub-job level up on master levels is really pockmarked with individual access to new spells and abilities that like are good, but it's not the same as, oh my gosh, if I get master level 30, I'm gonna get, you know, this next set of gear or this one particular really powerful JA. No, you're getting a little bit of cross-job JA usage, more so than we had access to earlier. And of course, everybody's worried about foil, and they actually touch on foil here in this post, so we're going to see it in a little bit. So I'm wondering what they mean. The ability of the serpentine performance will only increase. I wonder what that implies. Yeah, the biggest winner was definitely Super Jump, for sure. Second, tied with foil once foil comes out, IMO. However, if you put the equipment and abilities with drastic performance here, will they become indispensable? Fujito says, at the master level, the upper limit of support jobs is raised as the battle parameters, stats, and skills rise. They're going to touch on it here, Maxim. So, anyway, it surprised me when I read it, okay? Anyway. Therefore, at the master level, the upper limit of support jobs is raised as the stats and skills raise. Instead of learning abilities and job characteristics like gifts or merit points and job points, with this, new build elements such as you can use the job ability that you couldn't use in the support job until now, or what is the synergistic effect when you combine it with this main job? By sharing such information with colleagues, we also aim to dilute the feeling of work. A new hunting ground will also be implemented where players gather on a party-by-party basis. Oh, this is the context for this statement. This is the statement I read out of context and was like, what? It's in relation to master levels. It says a new hunting ground will also be implemented where people will gather on a party-by-party basis. In FF11, where the number of elements that can be played solo is increasing, I think we can create a nostalgic but fresh situation. Holy cow. What if there was some kind of queue or something for like mastery points? What if you went in and was like LFP, LFP scholar? This is interesting. This where people will gather on a party by party basis is not the usual language I would use to describe a 6-man content. This sounds different, and I don't know in what way they are intending this. Huh. A nostalgic but fresh situation also implies to me like an LFP situation. You've been talking about that? Yeah, that's really interesting. One of the concepts born in FF11 is hourly wage. But players are getting used to raising the master level, and that is reflected in the hourly wage. And their earning is getting better and better. I think that's kind of also interesting. Yeah. In the newly opened hunting ground, Crawler's Nest Shadowrain, you can see monsters being hunted in a flashy manner. Where are you at, Rico? Matsui says, I'm always amazed at the strength of players. To be honest, I don't want you to put it all together. However, it is of the efforts and ingenuity of the players. As long as you see it as part of the technique, I will avoid it as bad intervention. Matsui basically says right here, I won't be nerfing... I think he's saying I won't be nerfing it, but good on you for figuring it out. Are there any plans to open the upper limit of the master level in the future? We plan to raise the upper limit to 40 in June and 50 in November. This we know, which we consider to be a cap. This will limit the number of support jobs to 59, okay? They're specifically saying, they're obviously aware, they're limiting to 59. And look, and you will be able to use foil when you turn a support job into a magic sword fighter, aka rune fencer. Then they say the performance of knight, paladin, support magic, sword, support sub rune should improve considerably. So it is a part where you have to check the balance with the professional magic sword fighter. This is them saying what the community has been saying since the introduction of master levels. If paladin gets foil, rune fencer is no longer king. They are now neck and neck. So here we are. Rune fencer, I've for a while now, I myself and others have already been bringing paladin to segment farms because of paladin's tankiness compared to rune fencer's sort of evasive kind of like parrying manner. And also sentinel is busted, and invincible is really good on really big pulls. But here it is, the devs saying exactly what the community's been thinking is there will no longer be a clear winner, and you could potentially tank with either tank in any content. There's no special ability needed to master level. For example, if the master level is 50, all battle parameters are plus 50, and the upper limit of combat and magic skills is plus 50, which is an amount that cannot be overlooked. Will the battle content added in the future be adjusted on the promise of growth at the master level? Matsui replies, first of all, battle content does not assume a job master. However, becoming a job master and raising the master level are just as strong as equipping equipment. So we did have a little talk earlier about sort of like Aeonics, kind of like leaving newer players in the dust, because most of the player base has kind of moved on from them. However, master levels are a different way of making Aeonics easier, and I wonder if this is their method of improving access to older content, such as Ryzen Jima, Helms, and etc. Yeah, but well, M50, you're correct on M50, but M20 is a really respectable goal. If you're doing Odyssey with any kind of regularity, your jobs will get to M20 in a matter of weeks. And M20 is 20 more to every stat, 20 more to every skill. Does go a long way towards bridging the gap of fighting like a Helm, for example. I'm going to hydrate. Thank you. On to the next one. Matsui says, first of all, job master to master. However, becoming a job master and raising the master level are just as strong as equipping equipment. They really are. I mean, just stats and skills are, like, aside from your multi-attack and your STP or whatever, you're getting the things you need. Fujito says equipment is not premised on the so-called RMEA. I try not to make adjustments that cannot be cleared unless I have equipment that stands out in terms of performance. I try not to make adjustments that cannot be cleared unless I have equipment that stands out in terms of performance. So this is an interesting philosophy where, like, if you look at Odyssey V20, A3s, and Bumba, I think that they did tune for proper equipment, but he says he tries not to make adjustments that cannot be cleared unless I have equipment that stands out. Okay. I mean, you could potentially, you could use Ambu weapons, I guess, and clear all A3s and Bumba, potentially. I mean, Nagling in particular. So, like, if you consider Ambu weapons a sort of sub-Rima, and then just be master level 30, I think Ambu weapons plus M level 30 could potentially clear all of V20. I don't see why not. You might have trouble on, like, Arabadi, where you really want, like either the Relic or the Aeonic or the Armageddon. But yeah, I don't know. By the way, isn't there something like a limit breakthrough quest at master level? Matsui says, oh, like a mat fight, like a map fight level limit break, but there are none. Matsui says if you set up such a barrier, people who can't break through the quest, like in previous mat, will feel stressed. Besides, the number of exemplar points required to raise the master level is enormous. It is. So I don't think there's any need for an element that would be reflected in earning time anymore. So I don't think there's a need for an element. Oh, okay. They think those quests are a thing of the past. Level limit breaks are a thing of the past. It's not the story of hunting, but I wanted you to enjoy raising the master level at your own pace. It's fine. I'm happy with it. I don't need a limit break. I think especially the last bunch of limit breaks where, yeah, they have V20 difficulty. Yeah, there's already a barrier. Like, there's already a difficulty you can do. It's such a great success with the Crawler's Nest Shadow Rain, but will such hunting grounds be added in the future? Matsui says, it really happened that the Crawler's Nest Shadow Rain, commonly known as Donut Square, wasn't open, so I could implement it as a hunting ground, but it's basically difficult to add. Fujita says, if you easily place high-level monsters, it will have unexpected effects, such as making it difficult to proceed with existing quests. A completely new place like the Crawler's Nest S is difficult, but I think there's a possibility that, for example, we will renovate an area where no one is visiting now and somehow make it a hunting ground. Okay. They basically give like a political answer here is like, it is a donut square. Wait a second. Wait a second. Whatever they said, that's what it translated to. Donut square.